Hello chess friends, we're playing with the black pieces and the game opens with e4, e5. Then the knights come out, knight to f3 and knight to c6. White puts his bishop on c4 and we develop our second knight to f6. Next, white attacks with the knight to g5, focusing on the f7 square. Now there are two possible lines. The best line is d5. That's the best defense. The second line is playing the bishop to c5. I will talk about both lines in this video. Let's start with pawn to d5. If white takes our d-pawn with his e-pawn, e takes d5, we move our knight to a5. If he checks with that bishop on b5, we will block it with our c-pawn to c6. Should he take our c-pawn with his pawn, then we take it with our b-pawn. And eventually he has to pull back. Let's look at another line. We have moved our knight to a5. But this time he tries to defend the bishop on c4. Or move it to b3. Regardless, we just take it. In general, bishops are good to have in the endgame, so it's good for us to remove one of the opponent's bishops. A bishop and a knight are both worth 3 points, but in this position our knight was stuck at the rim of the board. And now, when the trading is done, our pieces are active. If he wants to save his bishop and runs to d3 with it, we can grab that center pawn with our knight. It opens up a nice attack on white's knight on g5 for our queen. Part 2. It's time for that other defense. Our bishop going to c5. This creates a focal point on f2. White can strike on f7 with the bishop or the knight. If white strikes with the bishop on f7, our king is in check and we'll have to move it. Move him to e7 or f8. I usually move him to e7. Our opponent will probably move the bishop back to a safe square. Let's assume it'll be b3. Then, over the next couple of moves, what I like to do is to develop my pieces. Pawn to d3, to let my light squared bishop come out. I move my queen to e8 and, eventually, bring her out into the attack. If white strikes with the knight on f7, you sacrifice your bishop on f2. If white then ignores that bishop and moves the king to f1, we have to move our queen, and the only square is e7. He will then take our rook. And in this position, I usually pull back my bishop to b6. However, if white doesn't ignore the bishop and takes it with the king on f2, we launch a vicious counterattack by jumping with our knight to e4, and he is in check. He will probably pull back into the corner and put the king on g1. Black queen to h4. And if the opponent plays pawn to g3, you can take it with your knight. After black queen to h4, if he plays white queen to f3, we can put our rook into the game. Or our other knight. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click thumbs up, subscribe or write a comment under the video. Good luck with your chess.